What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Two for Two, your sports podcast for the culture, by the voices of the culture. I'm your host, Keith. I'm here as always with my brother Nell. We back on the pod today, man. It's just Keith and Nell, original Two for Two, or not, the Two for Two you're used to. We here. Let's get into it. Nell, my boy, what's good with you?
What's going on, man? How you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. You
I
know
bet
me.
you are.
I'm having a great day. Nothing could beat me down today after my Knicks did what we did last night, man. It was great.
I saw the orange and blue skies as soon as I woke up this morning. I said, "Oh shit."
I was like, damn, Nell's gonna wake up and like not read none of this and then watch the game.
I
But
definitely did it.
I was like,
I know Keith is talking crazy in my messages, yo.
I was like, yo, if y'all didn't know, man, Nell hit me up midway through the game, and it was funny because the Knicks was losing, and then Nell stopped watching the game,
Down 20.
and then we
I had to
won.
get to bed. I thought I could go to sleep.
Yeah, it was good. It was crazy. So as we know, Nell watching is what had us down. That's why I told you in the text. I was like, bro, just go to sleep. Like, you know what I'm saying? You stop watching things, bro. So we appreciate that, man. Knicks up 1-0 on the Celtics. So that's what we're talking about, man. The NBA playoffs. No more NFL draft is coming on. Congratulations to those men that were drafted out there. But it's back to the playoffs, man. So we're officially into round 2. And it's crazy, no? We don't have the Clippers and we don't have the Lakers. So let's start with the Lakers, man. JJ Redick, after the loss at the hands of Anthony Edwards. Oh, I lied. Was it Jokic? It was Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards and the Timberwolves. Tough, right? JJ Redick comes out. He's like, simple as this. We had some guys that are in phenomenal shape. We have some guys that could be in better shape. Overall, as a team, we have to be in championship shape. When you hear that, Nell, what are you thinking about, man? What do you think? What's he talking about?
I mean, obviously he's correct. I mean, to get all the way to the ultimate goal of winning a championship, you got to be in elite shape. We know these athletes are in peak shape already, but you got to take it to even another level to endure that grind of postseason basketball and all those games you got to play for the ultimate prize. But I think it's pretty obvious who he was referring to. Obviously, you're the head coach. Like, you have a right to, have these, well, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. These, I don't know, requests from your players. Like, obviously, if he wants his guys at elite shape, like, he has the right to come out and say, like, this is what my expectations for these players and for us to get to where we want to get to ultimately. But when you think about the trade from Dallas and what was all the conversation coming out of that, they didn't believe that Luka was in the best of shape. They didn't think that they could win a championship with the way he plays defensively. So for that to happen, and then at the end of the season, we're talking about conditioning. When obviously we know he's not talking about LeBron James, who at 40 years old is still one of the best conditioned athletes in
He's
basketball.
The guy that he was saying was in perfect shape.
We know he takes care of his body. I don't think JJ Redick is coming out and just throwing out role players under the bus saying our role players got to be in elite championship shape. I think it's pretty obvious that he was talking about Luka, and if you watch that series, it was obvious what the Wolves were doing to Luka, targeting him offensively. So that's why I said when the trade happened, I didn't hate the move. I understand how bad the optics are of trading a superstar the level of Luka, and obviously he's just coming off that finals run. But I just feel like the way he plays defensively, the way he's just a walking cone, I just think it's really hard to win like that. You've got to be able to just try. Like, I think of a guy like Steph Curry. This isn't some lockdown defender, but he tries, he competes, he has good team defensive IQ. He's in the right spots. We saw him Game 7 against Houston. Play really well on defense. So like, I question if Luka can get the ultimate prize with the way that he plays defensively and the kind of shape that he keeps himself in. Obviously, he's still obviously incredibly young, so he's got plenty of time to kind of change that narrative. But I do think it's in this NBA, it's extremely hard when you look at the kind of teams that are winning championships these days and the way they just target guys defensively. Like, how can you win a championship with a guy like that they can just target your best player in that case too? So
It's tough. It's a shame of who he was talking about, right? Like it's a shame that us as fans on the other side can come to the conclusion that it could be about Luka Doncic, right? I got you talking about that's your best player, right? To the point of the Timberwolves were just flat out like wherever he is, we'll go there. Lakers said we'll go zone. They said cool. We're gonna sit Rudy right on that block right next to you, and guess what you'll have to do? Defend him. If not, boom, we get you out, man. We're gonna get the switch. You getting Julius, you getting Ant. Anybody can go at you. You know what I'm saying? And that's bad. And you talk about his defensive how's the defensive liability, right? How that plays into that championship shape. Um, it's kind of sad, especially because this is now 2 years in a row where it's magnified on a massive scale, right? When, like you said, last year with Dallas, a lot of it came down the stretch. He's getting banged up. His back's hurting. He's tired. He's not playing defense, and it's like these injuries that you sustain also, you talking about being in good shape. Like these are things that happen when you're not in tip top shape. And so my question now is with that, with that being said, now we've seen this multiple years in a row, right? We see the videos where they're showing Luka from 4 years ago where he looks like a completely different
oh my
person.
god, yo,
And
those rookie year highlights are crazy. He's flying down the court.
it's like, yo, he's the fastest man on the floor. He's one of the best athletes on the floor. And now you look at this, it's like, okay, what do you think it is, Nell? Like, is it Luca? Is it he's too lazy? Is it like the nutrition side? Because this is a professional basketball player here, and he's been a pro since he was a kid. People got to remember this man has never he didn't play college basketball. He was a pro overseas. You would assume he knows how to take care of his body. So what do you think it is? Is it just I'm in America and I'm chilling? Like why do you think it is when we get to this part of the season that we see Luca slowly just declining as far as his shape goes, as far as his body goes, as far as his effort with the season?
Well, I'm not gonna necessarily. Well, I will knock his effort defensively because a lot of times defense really is just about trying. Um, but apparently, they use the question marks that he's had about him even when he was playing overseas growing up. Obviously, when you're younger, you can go eat a Big Mac or some McDonald's or whatever, and go out and hoop, and you'll still have your speed or athleticism. But I don't know. I just think guys like him, like I mean, they're just so good that they feel like they don't have to take care of their body in a way that other people do. I think about JJ Redick. His head coach is, during his time, his podcast, he talked plenty of times about his routine, his nutrition, his workouts, and how crazy he went in the off season to stay in shape. We hear about Steph Curry's workouts and plans. Obviously, LeBron spends millions, so he says, on his body and recovery.
Allegedly.
Uh, yeah. So I mean, the type of commitment that these players make is crucial for longevity and sustain greatness. And sometimes I mean I think about it be a lot great player. Like I wouldn't say like he doesn't want it or he's lazy, but I mean in a way like he's just so good that he just felt like I can get away with not being in the best shape. And as you get older, no, you can't get away with not being in the
Yeah,
best shape.
yeah,
Like you look at the older guys in the league, like KD and Curry and LeBron, still doing it at an elite level at a very old age that we're not accustomed to seeing, especially from perimeter players. It's because they take care of their body, they stay in shape, they have a commitment to excellence, and that's what it takes. And obviously, Luka is still a great player. I mean, he put up numbers in this playoff series, but it just to be a champion, like you hear it from anybody that's won an NBA championship, like it just takes a different level of commitment.
yeah. That's the next step for Luca, man. He's young. And that's the worst part about it. You know, at his age, you shouldn't be getting these nagging back strains and all these things down the stretch. You know, obviously, yes, he's a physical player in terms of how he plays. He demands a lot of attention. But like you said, just imagine if we could really see if he put that same, I guess, energy towards taking care of his body that the LeBrons, the Stephs, the KD, the guys have been doing, like you said. Imagine, how good he how much better he would even be, and how much that'll help the Lakers down the stretch. So hopefully, JJ Redick said they have a plan for each player on the team. So we'll see what that means. See how Luka bounces back. On the other side of LA, well, the other side of that coin, the Clippers, team we were high on, man, taken down, lost in 7 to the Denver Nuggets. Your boy.
I don't
Tell
know
me
if he's
about your
my
boy,
boy.
man.
I don't know if he's my boy.
James Harden. Is it all on him? We
Of
blame
course not.
Kawhi?
I think it's hard to blame a 35-year-old point guard that, for the last couple of years, people are saying has been, washed and past his prime. Like, I don't think we're looking at this like, this was Houston Harden and Kawhi, falling in the first round.
Yeah.
Kawhi definitely didn't have his best series, his best
He
game,
wasn't
that
he wasn't
game
aggressive
two.
enough. Wasn't aggressive
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah, they did not show up in that second half of game seven. And, but this is the history for James Harden, sadly. And once it got to a game seven, you just kind of knew you couldn't trust them. I did think the Clippers were going to win this series because they had all the momentum coming into the postseason, and usually that means something. And I've never seen a team fire their head coach 2 weeks before the playoffs and win a playoff series. So
Shout out to
history
that
was
guy.
made. So maybe we'll see it more often. Teams say, "Hey, this ain't working going towards the end of the season. Let's just fire the coach." And hey, the teams have made runs before. Now they got proof of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this is just what you come to expect from James Harden. But it's hard for me to say like it was all on him just because like he is 35 years old. Like it, everybody's not going to be LeBron, KD, Curry at 35, still looking like they did 5 years prior. So with James, it's tough because he just has this narrative around him, and I don't think he's ever going to be able to shake it. Like he's not all of a sudden going to get better as a player moving forward at age 36, 37, however long he plays. Still a productive player, had a great bounce back season, was an all-star this year. Good season for the Clippers, having them in the playoff hunt, while Kawhi was out, for first half of the season. So he deserves a lot of credit, but I mean, when it comes to the postseason, uh, those demons just aren't going away.
Yeah.
I saw a stat, he has 55 playoff games with less than 4 field goals made. Like it's stuff like that that's just head scratching and makes you just look at him sideways. Because I mean, it's one
55.
thing if 55,
I mean, has he played?
55 might. All right, now that you say it, that does sound crazy. But I heard someone on TV say it. It was ESPN, so that's probably why it was crazy. Maybe it was
Either way.
29. Maybe it was 29.
Either
It could have
way,
been. It could have been 29.
that's still a lot.
I think he might have. I'd have to double check this. He might have 55 playoff games. That might have been 29 of those. But even
That
29 is
sounds about right.
crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And then I saw another stat like he has almost the same amount of games with like more turnovers than field goals made in the
I saw that.
playoffs.
I did see that.
It's
Not
stuff
good.
like that that's just
Not
mind
good for
numbing.
you.
And then he only took 8 shots. Like
Again.
that's the stuff that pisses me off. Like your team needs you. Your team
Just
needs
go
you.
out. Go out swinging.
Like if you
Go
go
out
and
gunning.
shoot your tour dates, shoot 2 for 16. Like show me that you're trying to put an effort into it. But I mean, when you just take 8 shots and it's game seven, like everything's on the line here. Need your best players to show up. He just tends to not do it. So
It's
I'm
tough.
not. I'm not gonna all of a sudden trust him now.
It's tough.
After Game 7 against Boston a few years ago, why would I ever trust James Harden in the playoffs?
We had high hopes for the Clippers, man. And my thing is, with all that you've said, it's like I don't know where they go from here. I feel like they're in a pretty tough spot. Like, okay, you have a good roster that can compete to make the playoffs. Okay, cool. You got Kawhi, you got, James Harden. Like we said, both those guys are aging. James Harden um carried them to the, helped them get to the playoffs, but him and Kawhi both. I think, like I said earlier, weren't aggressive enough in this series. I mean, you got Zubac had a great series guarding Jokic. I mean, he did about the thing. He I think I saw something about he like statistically has guarded Jokic better than anybody has, right? So you got all you could from there, but then where do you turn? You know, you got Norman Powell, you got Batum. Batum? How many more years is he gonna play? Um, so I'm more so concerned about where they're gonna go from here, just because I don't see a clear path to adding anything that's gonna take you, you know, move hard into a more third option where you can let him also be more of a playmaker, facilitator, while also maximizing Kawhi Leonard and what you're gonna get from him. So I don't know, man. It was tough. Tough for them to see. Like you said, though, the Nuggets shot them taking care of business. Jokic, they got it done. Aaron Gordon, Russell Westbrook went out there and said, hey, they picked the wrong guy. That Chris Dunn trade, they had Russell Westbrook in that trade. And guess who got the better end? It was Russell Westbrook. Out west as well.
Before you start the next one,
What you got? What you got?
he's played 173 playoff games, so it was 55. 55 with less than 4, and he's got 34 with less than 3. I mean,
Damn.
that's just all time bad from someone that we look at as one of the greatest regular season scorers in NBA history.
Yeah, I might can't put him over D Wade no more. I
I
tried,
was never
fought
putting
it.
him over D Wade.
I
That
tried
is
to fight it.
insane.
I tried
That
to
was
fight it.
insane.
I tried to fight it.
Maybe it's just a score, sure,
I
but
tried to fight it.
as an NBA player, like nah, Wade
There
would
was
never sell like that in a game 6
Yeah,
or
nah,
7.
nah, he
Ever.
wouldn't. He definitely
He
wouldn't.
always showed up in the big spots.
Yeah, he definitely wouldn't. So yeah, he's off that list for me. Don't worry. I tried it for a little bit. Um, but looking at the Rockets, man, they lost Game 7 to the Warriors. They're another team in a unique spot. We've heard rumblings of Giannis. You heard rumblings of Kevin Durant. All of this. What do you think they should do, man? Should they look for veteran help? Should they go get a veteran star, or do you think their young core is good enough and just keep building around it?
I think it's tough because obviously when you have early success like this, you want to try to capitalize it because the one title window is always smaller than you think. Never know what can happen in the future, but I think a lot depends on the draft lottery coming up. They do have pick swaps with Phoenix, who doesn't have a great chance of winning the lottery, but I mean, crazier things have happened. They certainly got a chance to get a top 4 pick, most likely top 10 at least. Um, so I mean, I feel like they have time. It's just how much faith have they lost in Jalen Green with this postseason
Yeah, it's gonna be
performance, if
tough. It's gonna
if
be tough
any?
for him.
Because I mean, you could if he had a great performance, you could say, okay, let's try to run it back and see what Şengün and Jalen Green and Amen Thompson, see what this group can do for maybe another year or two. If they can make any huge leaps, because the difference, like you look at a team like Orlando, um, like they have like a cornerstone in Paolo, and then you look at Houston, they've got a collection of a bunch of young guys on the team, and that's something that they're gonna have to deal with paying a lot of those guys soon. You got Jabari Smith, who was a top 3-5 pick.
I think it was
Uh,
second.
yeah, and he's coming off your bench. You got Tari Eason, who's a pretty good two-way player. Cam Whitmore, they talk about him every damn summer.
Yeah,
Yet I always just see him on Houston's
yeah.
bench. So I don't know, but they who was the guy they drafted 3rd overall last year,
Reed
or
Shepard.
Reed Shepard? That was mind blowing. But I mean, still, they've got a lot of young talent on here. Jalen Green and Şengün have obviously emerged. Van Fleet, he's got a team option of 44 million coming up. So I mean, it really just depends on how they want to capitalize or maximize this opportunity. I've seen. It's just I worry about trying to chase that veteran star because I've seen teams like the Sixers try to do it, and it just derailed the entire process that
Yeah,
they called it. We
yeah,
traded all of our assets, spent all of our money on players that maybe we shouldn't have, and it left us with nothing. So I mean, they've got a bright future and some bright stars, but they shouldn't rush it. If the right star becomes disgruntled, and they've got the pieces. I think Boston did it the right way. For years, Boston had all these picks and pick swaps, and everyone's like, when are they gonna make a move? When are they gonna make a move? Year after year, when are they gonna make a move to add something to Tatum and Brown? And they waited, finally got the right guys in there, and you get a championship. You blow things up too early, or you try to force a star in there, it can just mess up the chemistry and the timing of everything. So I'm not, if KD becomes available, I feel like it's hard to pass on that. But I do think, like, if you trade all of those assets and then you only get KD for 2-3 years and it doesn't work out, I mean, what are you left with?
Yeah, I think that's that last piece is kind of where my thought begins, right? It kind of, to me, it depends on what you're giving up for said veteran star, right? Because you think about the Rockets roster, like you said, they do have some young talent, guys on the bench that we haven't even seen much. You talk about Vliet. Was the idea for Reed Shepard to sit behind Vliet for a year? We got the team option, see how Vliet does. If not, boom, you basically in the same mold. You come up, you do what Vliet does, maybe. But then there's just the case of what we ain't seen Reed Shepard play in the NBA at all, right? We don't know what that's gonna look like. But do you part with that, to go get somebody else? Do you part with, like you said, Jalen Green? What's the decision? I think if you're looking at that lineup between, if you're looking Şengün or Jalen Green right now, especially at this playoff series, I'm probably not parting with Şengün. Jalen Green might be a little bit easier to give up. But then again, that changes the dynamic, right? Like, we're thinking you add veteran starter, what you got now, and it elevates you. You add Kevin Durant to this starting lineup with Jalen Green and with Şengün, and then you got guys like Dylan Brooks, you got guys like Jabari Smith. It's like, okay, that's a little different, but to your point, you're gonna have to lose something to gain something here. But with that though, I genuinely do think they need to go for it, right? I mean, I think if it's Kevin Durant, how do you say no? If it's Giannis, how do you say no? I mean, I think they also need to add some legitimate shooting on that team, right? Like, at the end of the day, that's the problem. You can't shoot to save your life. Your best shooter is Jalen Green, who is more of a streaky shooter.
That's where Giannis pickup would kind of
And
scare
that's
me.
and
So
right, and
if you
exactly that's
got
the thing,
Giannis and Amen
right?
Thompson on the same court,
And Şengün sitting there in the middle, it's like it's just not going to work, right? So to that point, it gets tough. So it's like you're gonna have to mess this thing up if you want to add a veteran star. But I don't know. I think you go for
it's
something.
much easier for these GMs to mess it up than to get it right.
Yeah, right, right. And so if you're confident, you like Amon, you trust Jalen Green is going to take this playoff experience and use it as fuel to take that next step. 'Cause, I mean, he's a great young star, right? He's got a lot of talent. He had an explosive what was that, game 2 or game 3? I mean, he just didn't do much else after that. But the potential's there for the Rockets. So you know, hopefully they don't do too much, because sometimes teams can't do too much. But Kevin Durant, it just makes too much sense in my opinion. If it becomes an option, or I had somebody tell me Devin Booker, right? If that
I saw
becomes if
that.
that becomes an option, I mean, that fits, right? That makes sense. So we'll see what they do. But let's look ahead to we in round 2, man. We in round 2. We started off already. The Pacers came out with a commanding win over the number 1 seed Cavs, man. Looking at it, the Cavs are banged up, right? Even just came to the phone now as of this recording. Game 2, Cavs are down Garland, Mobley, and DeAndre Hunter.
Oh Lord.
So now we're looking at a potential 2-up, 2-0 for the Pacers, man. If they get back to the conference finals, and you know how I feel about the Pacers, do we have to give Haliburton and the Pacers more respect if
Yeah,
they
you've
get
been
back
you've been
again?
digging Halliburton's grave all
And
season.
I'm waiting. I would love nothing better than for the Knicks to take them down in the ECF. Fit
Yeah,
my narrative perfectly.
I definitely think he deserves a lot more respect. I think last year, I'll even admit I thought it was a bit of a fluke. They got to play the Bucks without Giannis, and Dame missed the second half of that series. Then you play against the Knicks, and by the end of that series, pretty much everybody was walking on one leg. And then you get to the Celtics and you get swept. So I think a lot of people, obviously thought it was pretty much a fluke, and I wouldn't disagree at the time. And then they come into this season, and it's kind of a slow start to the year. They start off slow. Haliburton didn't have a great first half of the season, and they really started to pick it up around January, February. So give them a lot of credit, but you know, we also had the poll where Tyrese Haliburton was voted like I think he was voted number one most overrated. But I think if he gets to the
Because it
conference
makes
finals this
sense.
year,
That's what he is.
I he's a
Nah,
point guard. He's a point guard.
I don't think he's overrated. I don't like him as a I don't as a player. Cool, he cool. He fits that team perfectly.
He,
I don't
he does, and
like he's a
he's
front
getting it
runner.
done.
I just don't like the Pacers, bro. Like they just
It's
disgust me.
fine.
They disgust me.
It's fine. But I think if they win this series, they've earned that respect. I mean, at the end of the day, back to back conference finals, like I can't take that away from him. That's something that my MVP hasn't been able to do once in his career. So as much as that pains me to say, got to put some respect on his name for getting it done in the brightest spots and the biggest moments, no matter who's he gone up against. I mean, got a chance to play against Giannis this year, got him up out of here.
No
I mean,
doubt.
I thought in that third quarter of game one, I thought Donovan Mitchell and Mobley and Cleveland, they were about to run away with that. But fourth quarter, Halliburton made some huge shots. Neesmith had a great game. Nembhard made some big shots. Like that Pacers offense, they're getting it done, and they get timely stops defensively. I never looked at them as a defensive juggernaut. Thought they were pretty terrible on that end, but I mean, you look at Neesmith, who's pretty good and aggressive defender. Miles Turner is, no slouch in the paint. Siakam, was a force defensively on, those really good Raptors teams. What?
Go ahead. I was waiting
Siakam,
for you said on the Raptor teams.
yeah, on the Raptor team. On the Raptor teams, he
I
was
know. I was gonna say you saying now. I don't really.
nah, but I mean, like he's shown that he can play defense. Unlike some teams who are just defensive liabilities. They got some guys. They're not a good defensive team, but like they got some guys that in
Yeah, you
moments,
got guys.
like
They'll compete. The Pacers will. The
yeah,
Pacers will play hard and they'll compete and they play fast. Like you said, Halliburton. He runs the team very
you're
well.
not just getting straight line drives and layups.
Nah, nah.
Like we saw earlier in the season. So I think you got to put some respect on their name. He's got that offense humming. I mean, he's the conductor. I think they play with a lot of pace. Got everyone's touching the ball. The ball never sticks. And that helps them out on both ends.
Yeah, I mean they cool. They
Damn,
cool.
yo, you are hating crazy right now.
Dame, didn't really get to play in the Bucks series.
I don't think it would have mattered.
Um, I mean, right now, if they beat the Cavs without Garland, without Mobley, down two starters in the playoffs, man. I'm not saying that they don't just like. I'm never going to discredit because you got to think about sports. We talked about it before, right? To
Gotta
win a championship in
gotta go out
sports, you
there
got
and
to
get it
have.
done.
Sometimes you got to have some luck, right? And at the end of the day, regardless, like you say, you got to get it done. You can lose to the reserves. At the end of the day, the Cavs still
Easily.
going out there trying to win, right? So it is what it is. They cool. I respect them. I respect them for getting back. At the end of the day, like you said, two straight is two straight, no matter how you get there. I also want them to get there because I know that man is ready to give him that get back. You know what I'm
Tatum,
saying? Nah, he's not gonna make it. We want to talk about Tatum?
I do.
Okay.
I got a lot to say.
So, do you think my Knicks had a best chance to knock off these Celtics in the East?
In the East, yes.
West, you got somebody out west that can knock them off.
Probably not, but you asked in the East. So in the East, yes.
Okay. So that means out of every team, you have us giving them the best shot. Period.
Probably not. Probably not.
I'm about to hear this logic.
OKC and Denver can give them a solid
I
round.
mean, but let's look at the Knicks though.
Knicks played a great game. Love the way they played. Towns was, if he can stay out of foul trouble next game, he was having an incredible first half. OG had a great second half, great third quarter. I mean, Mr. Clutch, Brunson came in, did his thing. I mean, but I tell you, and I texted you this early in the game. I hate watching the Boston Celtics play basketball.
I know you
Absolutely hate it. They are the epitome of what is wrong with today's NBA. NBA playoff record, 63s taken, and they shot what 25% or 35%. What it was,
Missed
25.
45.
Missed 45 of them things,
Yeah,
and they
45.
just kept shooting them. 15 of 60. And Jason Tatum, he wonders why no one thinks he is the face of the league. He wonders why, as an NBA champion, he doesn't get the respect as a superstar like he may think he deserves. And don't get it wrong, like he's certainly one of the best players in this league, top 10 for sure. Champion, gets it done. But man, it is hard watching him play. It's hard watching someone with as much talent as he has. I don't want to say he's wasting it, but he's not using it to its full potential.
He's strapped.
For me to watch a tied ball game in the playoffs, second round,
Talk about it.
against the New York Knicks,
Talk about it.
as a man that is 6'8", 6'9",
He might be taller.
might be taller, get Jalen Brunson, who is 6'2" at best.
He might be shorter.
I thought they were lying too when I looked up his height.
Yeah.
Get switched on to you, 2-3 straight possessions.
And what did he do?
All you can do is shoot a step back three. Zero pressure on the rim.
Nothing.
As a guy with 8 inches, pause, or more of a height advantage on your matchup, and you can't get to the rim, or at least try to. It was a headache watching him down the stretch. And this is why people often put Jaylen Brown over him, which I disagree with, but at least he's aggressive and putting his head down and trying to get to the basket. Tatum gets way too cute. I've been saying for years he needs to develop a post game because it's crazy how hard he makes the game on himself. I've never seen someone with the size advantage, the handle, the ability to shoot, get to the basket the way he can.
Post game is the turnaround fade that we saw him shoot 3 times in the other series.
And he just put zero pressure on the rim. It's sad. And the Celtics as a whole, I just like. They're a great team. I mean, great. They'll probably still win the series because it's hard for me to imagine them shooting 25% from three the rest of the series. Like they were up 20, and if some of those threes go in, we're not even talking about a clutch shot at the end of the game. But you're gonna have games like that from the Celtics where they just can't buy a bucket, and I mean that's because of the way they play. They just pass the ball around the perimeter and shoot a three. I was looking up today. They take the most shots of when someone is dribbling the ball 7+ times in a possession. Like isolation, I think other than the Timberwolves, they take the most. They have the most isolation possessions. Like it's just ISO. I don't even want to call it a pick and roll because they pretty much just bring the man up to set a ghost screen just so we can get the switch that they want. Which I mean, I don't even know why they want the switch. All you're going to do is just dribble between your legs for 5 seconds and then shoot a step back three. I have not watched the Celtics this postseason and gone, damn, that was a nice play right there. That was a real nice set. Like it's the same thing every play, just three after three after three. They'll get some layups here. They'll attack the paint, but it's just like it's accidental basketball at its finest. Drive and kick, isolation three. They do nothing unique, but they're all really good shooters and good players. So I mean, yeah, like when the shots are going in, it looks amazing. But when it's not, it is nasty basketball to watch. Like you're just coming up the court shooting through. It was hilarious. The tip off, Jaylen Brown first shot, he just pulls up and shoots a three in the first 2 seconds of the shot clock.
He did.
Like that's the basketball we have to watch now. And honestly, it's kind of sad.
Stuff.
It's kind of sad. Literally.
That's what I do. Pick up.
It's not fun basketball. So as much as I hate the Knicks. Like, I would love nothing more than for someone to knock off the Celtics just so I don't have to watch their brand of basketball because it's not good. It's not good.
That's hard to follow up. And I was fighting not being a delusional fan today, but after that inspiring speech, I have no choice but to be delusional and speaking. I mean, I think the Knicks do. After last night, I feel like they have the best chance in the league to knock off the Celtics, right? I think you talk about a team that lost 4 times in the regular season. 4, but didn't even get, mind y'all, we lost every game by 15 plus, I think. At least 10 plus. I can guarantee we lost by double digits every time. Now to go out there and to see that game, I got to give Tibbs some credit. And I'll say this, I said before the series, I don't know if I said it on the podcast, I think you're talking about the draft, but I said I would love for the Knicks to win this series, but I have a fear that Tom Thibodeau won't be able to coach 4 really good games and the Knicks execute 4 times for us to win 4 games, right? You're gonna have games where Tibbs might have a masterclass and then shit just happened, right? But to your point, man, Boston played right into the Knicks' hands, right? Like the all season when the Knicks played the Celtics, we played drop coverage on that ghost screen, and it was literally Cat backing up, and Jason Tatum bombs over Baghdad. What did the Knicks do? They said, okay, cool. You know what? We'll just switch everything because y'all are just going to play isolation basketball and shoot a three anyway. Anyway, so we might as well ensure that at least it's not open, right? And I think what they fell into, like you said, their matchup hunt. They're like, well, we're going to look for who we can put in. We can, in the pick and roll, get the switch. But then what the Knicks did, they wanted to go hunt Brunson. Brunson started that little that fake hedge, and then because of how they play, we put Cat on Tatum at one point in time. So you put OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges, the 2 defensive strengths of the Knicks, on the perimeter, off on the wings where they're able to be long in the passing lanes and help Jalen Brunson when you try to go hunt that switch just for a brief second to knock him off. And then the Celtics were just falling into the trap, shooting threes.
3 after
Like you
3 after
said, I
3.
mean, like you said, more often than not, you know, they have really good to great shooting nights, right? Everybody's texting me, oh, Keith's like, come on, they're not gonna miss 45 threes again, da da da. But like, hey, at the end of the day, you had a 20-point lead and that's your game. At this point in the season, you're not adapting that,
Live by
right?
the 3, die by the
You're
3.
not I think the Knicks and any team would love to see Boston try to play a different style of basketball at this juncture in the season because that's not their identity. It's not. Now obviously they'll bounce back. I've pretty much said game 2 will probably be a Nick. We getting blown out. We probably getting blown off. We probably getting ran off the court. But we gonna win the series. I tell you that. I tell you that. Knicks in 6. You gave us the
I
advantage,
Yeah, I would love to see it, honestly.
and they can't guard that man to save their lives. You put y'all all that Drew Holiday. I love Drew Holiday, and that's y'all's guy, not yours. But the world loved Drew Holiday, right? He's the best defensive
Hey,
perimeter guy in the league.
former
He
Sixer.
earned it.
I got
Earned it.
love for Mr. Holiday.
No, earned it for sure. But had no answer. Derek White has no answer. You don't want to put Jason Tatum because he's gonna foul out. And Jaylen Brown, that knee already bad, has no answer. All I'm gonna say is let Karl Anthony Towns play well.
Don't put Orford on him either.
Oh, yeah, that was bad. That you that was they switched on the Horford and he got burned 3 straight times. They went to Hacker Mitch, which was corny. I texted you about how corny that was. But hey, my boy Mitch Robinson had the highest plus minus on the Knicks roster. He barely played and he missed like 8 free throws. All we need is 50% next game. Because again, you get the switch on the Mitch. Jason Tatum's not even trying to get by that guy. Because you know what's gonna happen. So go Knicks, man. I think we got a great shot. I think we're looking good. I'm excited.
Go New York, go New
Yeah,
York, go.
we're gonna take care of business. When Nell, I can say usually I would say Nell's being a hater trying to do that like little reverse jinx that he does, but
Nah, yeah.
I can
I hate
feel it.
Boston.
I can feel it. All my friends hate Boston. Y'all remember that episode,
No,
man?
because that game was really pissing me off, yo. Like, I don't think a team has ever just pissed me off the way. Like, I usually just sit back, just watch the game for what it is. But a team has never really just pissed me off the way they play, more than the Celtics. Like, that was just crazy, yo.
Yeah, really rough for them. Let's go back out west real quick, man. Anthony Edwards. Is it time to crown Ant the Legend Slayer? Think about it. His resume at 23, he's taken out LeBron, so they call him the King Slayer. If you didn't see his Adidas new drop, he's now the King Slayer. Took out LeBron.
That's
He's
crazy.
he's taken. No, it's a serious thing. That he took out
Randy
Nikola
Orton,
Jokic.
they call
Loves
him
him.
they call him the Legend Killer. He had
He
a
gave him
tweet
it.
and
He gave it to him.
yeah,
You know, you got what? I said Jokic. You took out Braun. You took out Kevin Durant. You got one more. I'm going blank on that he knocked off last season.
that was it.
That might have been it. And
Jokic and KD.
He's got Steph in the midst.
Be a good one.
Is Ant the Legend Slayer? How do you feel looking at that one?
I mean, I like the nickname,
You like it?
and I do love. I've been telling people this anytime I talk about Ant. I love the way he always gets his lick back.
Yeah.
Uh, they lost. If you remember, I think it was his first time in the postseason. They lost to Denver in the first round. And I remember he had an interview in the summer, and he was just like, "Man, I want to face the Nuggets again because I could get my get back on Jokic." They got to the Nuggets again, and I don't think anyone
Did.
expected them to beat the Nuggets coming off of that championship. But he certainly got his lick back, beating them in 7 games, and then obviously they had the loss to Luka and the Mavs, and obviously, you know, obviously this time it's against the Lakers, but got his get back on Luka. So I love that. Even though I mean, if he really wants to get his get back with Kyrie. If we being honest, that's the dude he need to get back because that's the one that was embarrassing him in in the Western Conference Finals. Um, but yeah, for him, I mean, we saw the way he took out KD in the first round and just dominating fashion. Like I thought it was hilarious. I forget what game it was. I don't know if it was game
One that
uh
was talking trash back and forth to each other.
3 and 4, and they was no against the Lakers where they was just
Oh, when he was
wrestling,
just
just
pushing
pushing
around.
around.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was like,
and
yeah, he ain't gonna push us around. We
yeah,
here.
like
Yes, sir.
you just see
Yes,
that.
sir.
Ant just cracks me up, and what I love about him is it's just all so authentic.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I see other players, getting all hype after shots, so sometimes they just don't feel authentic. They look like they just trying a little too hard. And like you can just tell that's him all the way. And I think that's why he's so endearing to fans, and why people kind of want him to be the next face of the league. So he's definitely got a bright future. And all the playoff success that he's had, early in his career, we didn't expect much from the Timberwolves after they traded Cat. Nobody picked. You thought the Lakers would win in 5. Nobody really picked them to win the
Did.
series.
Did.
So for him to come out and pretty much anytime he's in the postseason, his game rises to another level. So love that about the kid.
Yeah, for sure. It's gonna be exciting to see him going up against Steph. Another great, another legend, another opportunity for Ant to add to the resume. Or, we can see if Steph and the Warriors can, knock the young bull off. If you remember, you talking about getting your lick back. Ant Steve Kerr came out and said he would not draft Ant if they had the number one pick. Flat out.
Woke up
Ant
a
didn't
demon.
forget that. So we'll see how that goes. We also know he don't really care for Draymond too much. So it is what it is on that regard. And in Minnesota, Jimmy Butler in Minnesota, they have that little thing going where,
A lot
Jimmy
of lot of
got up
history in
out
that
of there, right?
series.
And then, Draymond choked the hell out Rudy. So, that this one's gonna be fun. This one's gonna be fun. So we'll see how that goes, man. But let's get to that other series, man. That MVP on MVP action. You know what I'm saying? Flat out right now, we talk about the Denver Nuggets. They fire the coach. They come back. Boom. You knock off a team. Cool. Everybody's got OKC. I'm not a gambling man, but I saw that spread. It looked crazy. Friend sent it to me. People thought OKC was good. Knock them off. No, what is it? 40, was it 44, 22, 6?
42,
42,
22,
22,
6
6?
assists.
And a dub for the Joker, man. For the Thunder and Shea, at this point, is the honeymoon phase over if they lose this series? Are we done
100,
with the endearing Thunder?
100%.
I'm with you.
I personally think it's
I'm
over.
with you. I'm
And
with
I'm
you.
not necessarily saying this. I'm not the type of guy that, you know, puts pressure on great players saying they have to win or start
Yeah.
slandering them once they start losing. When I say like the honeymoon phase is over, I just mean in terms of media coverage. Like last year when they lost in the second round, nobody said anything bad to say about the Thunder. They won 68 games this year, best team in the league pretty much all year. Um, everyone wanted Shea to win MVP this year so badly because he didn't win it last year. Number one seed back to back years. If you think about the offseason this past summer, I mean, what team in the West did we think like made the most significant moves to take that next leap in the Western Conference more than OKC? So I just think especially with the kind of year they've had this year, if they don't get at least the conference finals, you got to get to the conference finals this year, so that way you're at least taking steps year by year. If they lose in the second round this year, that honeymoon phase is over. Next
Yeah.
year, going into the season, everyone's going to say, well, can they get it done in the postseason? Can they do it in the playoffs? Nobody's really saying that this year. Obviously, there's still questions because everyone was caught up in LeBron and Luca, Steph and Jimmy, the Clippers. It's just like will the veteran stars be able to take out the young pups who haven't really been there. But at this point now, you've had two postseason trips as the number one seed back to back years. The third year, you've got to start getting it
Yeah.
done.
Yeah. It's time for some accountability. It's time to be like, hey, y'all cool. We love it. Fun team, very well put together. You talk about teams that did it right. You know what I'm saying? Sam Presti should win Executive of the Year every year. He's been doing it for years at this point, right? Um, but yeah, now it's like y'all shown us now, I think. And I feel like if Shea's the guy that we want, what we say he is, that he's shown that he is, the MVP, right? You have MVP expectation. We talked about James Harden. And what we looking back on his career at this similar point, he had a similar place in the league where he was the MVP on a young team, and we had expectations. We don't want to be looking down the line 10 years from now looking at Shea's legacy like, damn, he couldn't beat Jokic when he won that MVP that year. They that team that becomes, well, do they need something else? Well, they're gonna run it back. Like, I don't know, man. I feel like at this point, you lose this, we gotta put you where you are. You want to be with the big dogs. Y'all have earned it. You're the number one seed. Y'all show me. You know what I'm saying? Show me.
Yeah.
And I told somebody the other day. I said the NBA is a young man's league. You know what I'm saying? We love LeBron. We love KD. We love Steph. We love all those older guys. You can throw your guy Embiid in there as well. Like, these guys that we've seen holding down the fort in the league for a while. The young guys are here. The time is now. We see these young guys going for it. And at the end of the day, Shea and them, y'all going
Hey,
for it.
and you mentioned Embiid. You said you see the way people talk about Embiid now.
That's
I
what I'm
mean,
saying.
at this point, only MVP to never reach a conference finals.
Exactly. So that's what's gonna come with it, Shay. And you gotta show and prove, especially you going against a guy that's won it and he's won multiple MVPs. He's the guy that you gotta apex, right? The conversation is always what? Yeah, man, Shea deserves it. He deserves it. But damn, but did you see what Jokic doing? This is your time. This is your time. This is the series to say flat out, hey, shut all that up, man. I'm the guy. It ain't no Joker. It's Shea and them Thunder.
And once
So,
again, we talk about title windows like being
mm-hmm,
shorter than you
mm-hmm.
think. You think about J Dub and Chet, those guys will have to get paid
Decisions will be
soon.
made. Decisions will be made.
You gave
Exactly.
Hartenstein 90
Exactly.
million.
To
You
get
paid big
cooked.
money for Caruso.
To get cooked.
I'm not sure how many years Luke Dort has left. I think he got a pretty nice contract too. Like they've got
Mm-hmm.
a really deep team. Like
Yeah.
that's one of the things that helped them win 68 games. They've got a lot of really good young players. Well, all those really good young players, they're gonna get paid, whether
Decisions will be
you pay
made.
them or another team does.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean this roster, this young roster that you got, it won't be the same next year. Rosters change every year, so you got to try to capitalize with the group
Why
that
you
you have
got it?
now.
Absolutely.
Shay's only 26. They got plenty of time.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, in terms of media coverage, it won't just be your darling OKC Thunder. It's going to
Right.
be,
We're gonna put a cloud over
well,
you.
okay, they're going to win 50 to 60 games, but are they going to do anything in the playoffs? Like that'll be the conversation during the regular season now when they're having great success.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm right with you 100%. We're gonna see, man. But real quick with that though, we kind of touched on it a little bit, and you know, we talked about the MVP discussion. These are the two MVP front runners. They've been that way for the last two seasons. I know it's a regular season award, of course, but it's hard to ignore the elephant in the room. Do you think that the loser of this series do you think who loses this series should that impact the MVP conversation moving forward?
Nah, I don't think so. I mean, I think I've kind of been on Jokic's side this year. I mean, I think Shea is going to win it, but I do feel like Jokic has been the best player in basketball this year. But I feel like this series just it kind of just proves that. I mean, well, if they go on to win it, but I mean, you look at the impact that Jokic has offensively, it's just insane. But I think, like you said, it's a regular season award, and I think SGA did enough in the regular season to win it. Obviously, we know when the postseason comes, there's levels to it, obviously, and Jokic is showing you that there's a level to being a regular season MVP and being the best player in the game.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we'll see, man. I'm right with you. I feel like, I mean, it is what it is. However, I think it'll be hard. I feel like it'll be hard to ignore, right? Shea wins MVP. Let's say Jokic and them win this series. It's going to be hard to say when the race is really that close, right? When it's really like, shit, Shea deserves it, but we watching Jokic do things that nobody's ever done consistently, right? Leading the team doing this. So if that's the case, we're gonna look at like, dang, right? Or hey, if Shea wins, it's like, hey, solidify, we made the right decision, flat out. Like, look at him, you earned it, like you're the guy. So I think that's the conversation, right? I mean, obviously, it's not gonna impact it, but I do think it creates another conversation on the back end of it. Should the Nuggets win this series and then Shea win, or should Shea win this series and then Jokic get it, right? Like, it's going to be hard to look at it and not say, well, they did face off and we had an opportunity to see what each of them did. Now, obviously, we talked about the 40, 20, and 6, but, Shea did have 33 of his own and he had a pretty decent night, but they did not win. And just like the
Melted
Celtics,
down the
they were
stretch.
winning. Up 10, should have had the game. And they lost. So, we'll have to monitor that, man, down the stretch. But nonetheless, what we can all agree on is this is some top tier, high level basketball right now in the playoffs, man. Me and El talked about, the two games just last night in the second round were insane. Even that Pacers Cavs game to start round 2 was also another insane one. And we got some more series that we haven't even seen yet. So by the time y'all hear this, we'll have some more things to discuss, man. But with that, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of 2 for 2, man. It's season 3, episode 91. We are in the thick of the NBA playoffs, man. It's great basketball for everybody to enjoy. So make sure you tap in, continue to show love to 2 for 2 as well. We're going to keep putting out content for you guys, man. 91 episodes strong, and we ain't slowing down. So keep showing love on all platforms, man. Instagram, Twitter, we got YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, everything. We're everywhere, man. Shout out to Nell for holding it down with all of that good stuff, bro. We're going to keep doing this for y'all. Like I said, 2 for 2, season 3, episode 91. Keith and Nell.